In this video, we show some hidden keys to the Quincy Granite story that you may not know. The early colonists here didn't quarry, they used loose surface stones and moved them with shear poles and a team of oxen. Two long, heavy poles, a luff tackle at the top with guys front and back to hold it upright. This animation from Titanic Dock shows how it works. The hauling engine takes the place of the oxen, and the shear leg sliding rail takes the place of the guys. 100 years later, Quincy stoneworkers were still using teams of oxen and shear poles. This is the scene at Victor and Sheldon Quarry in 1852. However, the workers hammering and drilling in the foreground are using a game-changing technique to split granite. They used to just crack the stone and square the fragments with axe hammers. Then in 1803, Mr. Tarbox of Danvers, Mass., and his method arrived. Lieutenant Governor Robbins hired Tarbox to instruct all Quincy stone cutters. And here's Mr. Cable of Memory Lane and Heritage Village to demonstrate it.
Okay, we're at the mining site in the Heritage Village, and we're going to talk a little bit about feathers and wedges. For some reason or another, call these pieces of steel feather. They support the wedge. Now, how we make the hole for the feathers and wedges is with something called a star drill. And it's a star drill, I guess that's why they call it that. It's the shape of a star, even though it's missing one side. Now you can see the way that shatters the granite. And you notice I'm turning it just a little bit each time. Now that we've started this hole, we got to continually move the cuttings out of it. Otherwise the blows will be deadened quite a bit. So every minute or so you have to recover, get the dust out of the hole before you continue on with the drilling the hole. Once we get that done, we'll put the feathers in first, and then we'll put the wedge in. Those wedges will go right down in there. And what this does is this creates a tremendous force on the rock. It's an outward force. And now I'm going to start to drive them into the rock. You can hear it tuning like a piano. There wasn't too much to that one, so that rock is now fractured. It's not always that easy. This was a fairly small rock. And it's kind of neat when you look at it. All it is straight labor.
And that's why these types of peg holes appear in the edge of some granite pieces. This process dropped the price of cut stone 60%, and the use of granite in construction soared. Actually, Quincy granite is actually syenite, a type of granite that includes hardly any quartz. Its high quality made it especially attractive to builders, and it went throughout the nation in the late 1800s. But the demand began to wane in the 20th century. Builders were choosing less costly materials. While production of memorial stone gained some momentum, the Depression finally halted demand for Quincy granite, and the city turned to shipbuilding, leaving the quarries idle, and this caused problems. Quincy quarries had sprouted up in an unplanned, uncoordinated fashion. Many independent quarries staked spots, and then each cut its own way, creating a succession of holes, each with very steep, dangerous walls. Once idle, these separate hollows filled with water, which on the one hand provided thrilling spots for diving and swimming, but on the other created safety risks. And the underworld took advantage of the quarry's remoteness, as imagined by Dennis Lehane and Ben Affleck in the movie Gone Baby Gone. The towns of Quincy and Milton both saw the quarries as a way to deal with mountains of trash. Here in a 1966 Boston Globe article, the mayor and DPW chief are looking at the quarry landfill already filling to the brim. But the entire scene changed when the Big Dig came along in the 1990s. Developers of the Quarry Hills and Granite Links site, 500 acres covering the West Quincy quarries, worked with civil authorities to use the diggings of Boston's Big Dig project. The idea clicked. All parties benefited, agreed, and began the filling process. And West Quincy's idled quarries absorbed 900,000 truckloads of 13 million tons of material from the Big Dig. Here's how the granite rail transformed. A 200-foot cliff drop became a grass field with granite outcrops, a climber's delight. The process for the larger granite links required over 100 permits and amendments from 2 towns in the state, but it worked. They came up with a way to collect methane gas coming from the landfills and feed it to a power plant to generate electricity, enough to supply 200 homes. In the final stages, it's glorious. The views, the course, the fun, the food, the hiking, the climbing. The former quarry areas of West Quincy have become the go-to destination for young, upwardly mobile people in the Boston area, and who can blame them? It's a joy to play here, and thanks to all that made this beautiful site.